What's going on, guys? My name's Chris. I'm with my co-host JP Fluellen, and thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Success Agent Podcast, where we're going to talk about strategies to help real estate agents sell more homes by spending less time and less money to do so, all with 21st century modern business tactics. Now, you can catch us live here on our Facebook page every single Wednesday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, or you can also follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're pretty much everywhere. If you do go to any of those sites, definitely give us a review and let us know how we're doing. So last week, our topic was following up like a human and making sure that your direct outreaches feel real and you're creating that human connection to further that the transaction. And this week, we're going to be talking about creating content that kills, really feeding your audience what they want to be fed and making sure that they understand that you're the real pro in your area. Now, JP, you create a lot of content on several different channels. So you got a lot of things going on at once. And of course, that's really hard to manage. But with all of that, you've learned kind of the ins and outs, right? You've kind of figured out what works and what doesn't. What kind of platforms are you using right now to get your message out there?
So right now, the biggest thing I'm using right now is Facebook. I mean, contrary to popular belief, Facebook is not dead. It's not going anywhere. There's billions of users out there right now. So, I mean, the reality of it is that it's going to be one of the primary drivers for business right now. And then everything's kind of shifting over towards Instagram. You can do Instagram business pages now. And Twitter is still out there. It's not dead per se, but it is a very niche audience right now. So the biggest thing is knowing exactly how you're going to use these different platforms to grow your audience. Because the reality of it is that different people use different things for different reasons. And so you've got to be able to cater your content towards those different platforms.
So are people actually saying that Facebook is dead?
Some people are saying that, not dead in the sense that, no one's using it, but dead in the sense of using it as a tool to grow your business.
Yeah, I follow a lot of like consultant entrepreneurs, and I think Facebook is like the winning ticket, man. You get your audience. It's easy to collect that audience. It's easy to, get your message out there to those people. And the platform, I mean, we're so used to it. It's what, like over 10 years old now? It's just like ingrained.
95.
Okay, so 24 years old.
Or not 95, 2005. I'm sorry, 2005.
Okay, it sounds
so
more.
So it's right at 10 years old.
Yeah, it's just so easy to use, and I would find that really hard to believe that it's going anywhere. It's like Google Plus; they just pulled the plug on Google Plus. It just never gained any traction, and my belief is it's because of Facebook. People are not gonna migrate away from Facebook when they have Instagram, which is another massive social media channel, which is kind of like that static, just like mostly images. Of course, there is video. That's how they killed Vine, but mostly just static images. It's easy to scroll through. It's kind of just like a time passer. But then you have Facebook, which is kind of like that big platform that you can just get everything done. I mean, they have like Marketplace on there now. They're doing Facebook kind of like novels. I forget who just started that, some kind of chef, but you can actually read novels in Messenger now, kind of like a Kindle. Have you heard that before?
No.
Yeah.
Dude,
so that's the new thing.
Yeah. I have a prediction of the future of the 5 companies that are going to own everything. And Facebook is one of them. Google is the other one. And then it's going to be some food company and probably an auto manufacturer. And that's going to be it. Everybody else is going to be dead, and it's going to, and I mean, and I think eventually the internet in and of itself is going to be housed in some kind of social platform, because
Probably.
It's easier to get into something and then get crowdsource all of your feedback instantly, because your audience can instantly see that you're on there with alerts and all these other things. And then you can go in there and you can be like, hey, we're going to buy these draperies, and you can be in the social platform and literally see who's online and be like, do a quick poll. Do I want to do this one or this one as you're in the store? So you could literally get 25, 30, 40 people give you feedback instantly. Like all of a sudden, like right now, it's like, okay, well, I can't think on my own anymore. So I'm going to crowdsource decisions in life. So, do I get cheddar or do I get mozzarella? And you can do a poll right there and you can crowdsource all of your decisions in life. So people won't ever have to learn anything. They can just crowdsource all of their life's decisions and be like, should I read a book today or should I watch a movie? And all this stuff. I mean, you'll be able to crowdsource all of your decisions. It'll be like instantaneous Wikipedia, like right now.
Right. Yeah, seriously. But you could do either. I kind of agree with what you're saying, because it's almost like, what's the point of going anywhere else? You can do a Google search for like blogs, or you can just stay on Facebook in a group and just ask your question and get your question immediately answered. I think blogs are kind of a thing of the past almost, I would say. I mean, I know I'm not on any blogs unless I'm doing like some deep research, but even then, there's geniuses out there on Facebook. You just go get that information, right?
Absolutely. I think it's going to come down to the simple fact that, as we decline in our physical interactions, all of our decisions, everything's going to be a digital interaction for the most part. I mean, you're still obviously going to, people are still going to go to the bars. People are still going to invite people over for dinner or whatever. But from a day-to-day perspective, what people really want is they want to see your life recorded online. And then they,
Right.
it's almost like a choose your own adventure. Like you're doing your life. People are watching like Big Brother. And then literally like you could have a poll pop up right in the middle of, oh, well, do I pee standing or sitting today? Like, really? Like that's a life's decision? Hey, why not? Why isn't it? And literally have like all these dumb things that are crowdsourced. So it's kind of like what, when they were like I think it was in the 60s or 70s when they were trying to do smell-o-vision, where they were having like little devices that, like they would shoot off different smells while there was a TV show going on, and it's literally now you can literally do that. I could literally, like if everything was touchscreen, I could be like, no, don't go left, go right, because it's more safer, and then it's like, what does the crowd think? And then everyone can just decide in real life, like, or do I go to the zoo with my kids today? Or do we go to Disney World? Like, it's just like, seriously, that's what people want. People want to live vicariously through other people.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm never going to be that person. I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to do that. And it's like, it reminds me of, there was a CNN or some television special on Michael Jackson, and he was like walking through this mall. And because, Michael was so popular that he couldn't go anywhere without basically being like berated with nonsense. And so he ended up having to rent the entire mall out, some high-end mall. And I think it was in California somewhere. He rents out the entire mall, right? He pays all of the staff in the entire mall to continue working as if there was people working there. He's the only one in the mall because he wanted to have this, like, I wanted to know what it was like to shop in a shopping mall. You can look it up on YouTube. It's insane. So, and this was right at the time when Michael didn't really have all the wealth that he used to have. It was kind of like in between a couple of albums that didn't do so hot. And he goes into this like crazy high-end antique store. And he starts picking out these insane items that nobody in their right mind would buy just because it was just ridiculously gaudy and super expensive. So the guy's running the store, and Michael's like, so I really want that right there. In the store, the guy that's with him goes, Michael, that thing is $10,000. It was just like this stupid statue, and it was like ugly as all get out. And he's like, but I want that. And the guy goes, okay. And he's thinking in his mind, Michael, you don't have that kind of money. But he's like, he's just indignant about it. He's like, I want that thing, And so they're walking around, and the guy picks out another piece of art on the wall. Piece of art's like 15 grand. And he's like, and I want that one. and that one. And just think of the, like, if we had the technology back then, and then, Michael's like, well, let's just see what the crowd wants to do. And like, should we pick the one on the left or the one on the right? And so, I mean, people would, I mean, dude, he could have made all the money live right there.
It's true.
Pay
Yeah.
$1 and I'll pick the one on the left. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? And he could have raised all the money in 14 seconds. And then to be like, all right, I'm going to pick the really ugly one with all the gold on it. Put that one in my back pocket. Thank you. Michael, we can't put that in your back pocket because your pocket's not that big. As a matter of fact, your pants don't have any pockets. I don't care. I'm Michael Jackson. Make it happen. Like, what? Who are you right now? Like, but it would have just been amazing, dude. Like, it would have just been like, everybody would have just been like, that is what we need to, that's where life's going, So getting back on track with, how does that affect the way we use, our social down to like, so if you're doing any whatever it is, social, whatever it is, so you have to understand what these platforms are. So Twitter, generally speaking, is a news platform. So if you're, watching current events, if you're listening to different news and you want to, give out your opinions and do those kinds of things, and that is the platform for that. So Twitter is basically like, this is so-and-so's coming to town, this such and such, in real estate specifically, like, coming soons, brand new listings, that's a really good platform for that. So if you're doing Instagram, for instance, Instagram is really basically like, what are you going to give to value to your audience? What's the value that you give? So it's really a good spot for brand recognition. It's really good for, these are some cool things that we're doing. These are some cool pictures of a house. So like if you've got a new house on the market, you can do a little album of pictures and then say, this is what we've got going on right now, and do a couple of hashtags at hashtag awesome house, hashtag won't last long, whatever that is. And being strategic with your hashtags too. So you want to come up with a unique hashtag that's unique to your business. And then you hashtag these other things that drive traffic to your particular post. So for instance, hashtag real estate, hashtag, your city, hashtag cool cars, even though you're not posting cars, because people will be like, what the hell? Why is this guy posting, houses when he has hashtag cool cars? Because they're driving traffic. And that's the reason. That response you just gave right there is the reason now that you're on this page. And then you're like, oh, well, those are cool houses, so you're giving value. Now, the other thing too is you want to be thematic about it. So you want to have a continuous continuity in your content on Instagram, because everybody that's online has ADD. They say that within 3 seconds, if you're not capturing somebody's attention with your content, they're going to move on to something else. So it has to be unique or consistent, so it's a good thing to do like a combination of posts and video. If you can do all video, then that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah. But a lot of people are still afraid of video, so whatever. So yeah. But so when you're so that's Instagram. And the other thing too is you want to be consistent. So once a week, once a month, that's just not going to get it done. I mean, think about it in terms of your favorite TV show that you watch, whatever that you're into, Game of Thrones or whatever it is that you watch every week. That's an hour long once a week, but they're doing small little advertisements every single week, every day, 5, 6, 7, 12 times a day leading up to the next episode. So if you're going to have good viewership of your posts, then you want to do the same thing, small little snippets up to some event that you're going to do if you're going to do a long post once a week. So there's that. Facebook gets a little complicated when you're going to start posting on Facebook, because now in order to get good organic viewership, it's a combination of pictures and text. And you can go into, I think there's a few places online where you can look at exactly how their algorithms, because it's all about algorithms on there. So it's all about how to gamify their algorithms to drive content to the stuff that you're doing.
Right.
So, and again, it's you still have to give value, but Facebook is more like, if you're driving a business, then it's a lot of Facebook Live. So everything that you want to do, if you're going to drive traffic, if you're running it as a business, you want to do lots and lots and lots of Facebook Lives, because Facebook loves to be the origin of their own content.
Right.
So that's really the driving force behind, Facebook. And then, of course, if you're just, wanted to get more people to like your stuff, then you like other people's stuff, then they like your stuff. I'm not a big fan of the whole reciprocating thing, because you're not really driving traffic. You're basically trying to give sympathy. Well, I followed you, so follow me.
Right.
I'm in a dark, dank hole right now, and so it's like, if you have 10,000, if you're following 10,000 people, and then 10,000 people are following you, dude, that's just like a high five, like, oh, hey, high five. Okay, now we're friends. That's not. Then you're not giving anything of value. They're just doing that because you're like, hey, follow me back. That I don't think there's no value in that, in my opinion. I think if you're consistently driving good content that people want to listen to, then they are going to just organically follow you and want to know, okay, what else is this crazy fool doing next week, or whatever it is. So pick something and just be consistent. The consistency is king with any of this stuff. If you are the internet go-to person in your market, then people are going to be like, I don't care what anyone else is doing around here, because I'm going to follow this guy and I'm going to give him my business, because I know he's going to consistently deliver each and every time, because I see what he's doing. He's taken something on social and he's taken it to the nth degree, and he's been consistent with it. And I know that if he's consistent with what he's doing, that gives him no value, then I know that he'll be consistent with what I'm going to give him if I'm giving him value. So,
we were kind of talking about that too, though, with like engagement. We were talking about that yesterday, in that, there's people who just try to get as many people to follow them as they can. So they get this massive following. But then when it actually comes to the content that they're creating, there's literally no engagement. So they got like 20,000 followers, but only 100 people like their stuff. Dude, that's just there's no value there, because what you're saying is not matching what the audience is looking for, or your audience is literally just a bunch of accounts that aren't being used. And that's not going to help anyone. If I'm on Instagram, so for example, when I go on Instagram and I like right now, I'm obsessed with Jeeps. So I go through Instagram, I follow a bunch of people who are doing Jeep things. And probably 2 weeks later, I go through and I'm thinking, okay, well, this guy literally never posts anything, so I'm going to delete him. This guy doesn't post anything, I'm going to delete him. But this guy, man, he's posting all the time. I'm totally going to keep him on my feed. And then the number of people that I'm following for specifically that niche or that interest completely shrinks down. And I'm only following the people who I find valuable. And the way that they are creating value is by creating engaging content that actually matters to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing too is like, and if you see people that have like 3, 4, 5, 6 times the amount of followers that you do, and they are producing some cool content, then do some R&D, man. Rip off and duplicate, just do what they're doing, and just keep doing the same, obviously put your own twist on it, because people don't want to be like, wait a minute, those are even the exact same posts. Hey, that dude is in that picture. Like, that's not the way that you want to do that, because people are going to be like, first of all, I'm confused. Second of all, I don't know why you followed me. You know, because it seems like there's a little bit of a stalker element in Instagram. Like
Kinda,
you're
yeah.
putting stuff on there and then all of a sudden you're like, well, this crackhead following me right now. Like, this is just weird. Like, but you know, there's a lot of, you know, people following because they want people to follow them back because they're selling something. I mean,
Right.
almost every single one has some sort of website on there, which is fine. I mean, you know, if you can get good followers, and I would say, you know, truly engage with people that have something interesting, you know, send them a PM and figure out what it is that, hey, thanks for the follow. What's up with, why'd you follow me? You know, and
Yeah.
if they say, oh, you put out good content. Well, why is it good content? Because I want to continue to grow this, you know? So,
Mhm.
engage with these folks. I mean, you know, at some point it's, you've got to be able to, if you're going to scale out your business, you've got to hire somebody that is, you know, this is their field, so that you can, you know, turn these into income producing activities. You don't want to just
Yeah.
post just followers and then have no
Well,
end.
it's actually interesting that you say that. So there's kind of, not really in real estate, but so there's a brewery right down the road from me called Max Line, and its location is terrible. You can't see it from the road. It's, well, the road that you can see it from, it's not a busy road. It's near some residential areas, but overall, like, if you didn't know it was there, you're not going to know it's there. Their beer's okay, but across the 3 years that they've been open, one of the first things that they did was hire a social media manager. Her name's Alicia. She moved down to Chile, I think, to start her own social media marketing company. But she literally blew them up so freaking fast, only because she knew what she was doing and she created content that invited people. And once Alicia left, it was amazing. Once Alicia left, you could feel the difference in their social media presence. And it actually, even though it had nothing to do with me going there, I was less inclined to go because what I was seeing wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't as engaging, and it didn't create that same feeling that I was getting that they were originally casting off. And you know, I mean, that's the same for any business, whether you're selling toothpaste or you're selling houses or you're a writer or you have a blog, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's, you know, that content that you're creating, that ultimately has to be what your audience is looking for, and you need to match that content with who your audience is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you don't want to, if your audience is, you know, 30 somethings, you know, you don't want to have a bunch of guys sitting in suits and leather chairs smoking cigars as your theme, you know, and
Right,
people are going to be like,
exactly.
I'm confused. I didn't realize that they only served whiskey and scotch on the rocks, because I don't get it. I don't get it, because when I go in there, it seems like, you know, it's a party in the USA. You know what I mean? And I don't see anybody in suits or leather chairs. Well, there's always that one leather chair in the back with the guy that feels like he's, you know, got lost and needed a place to sit down. You know,
The king of
left
the room, right?
he's the king of the room. You know, just pointing and staring and you know, winking.
Not actually having fun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, dude, what you drinking, man? Soda water? Really? What are you doing here? You know, and it's always the young girl, the young couple that walks up and sees the guy in the back of the room, and they're just walking and being like, "Are you lost, sir? You know, can we help you out? Are you okay? Can you walk all by yourself?" The library is a couple blocks down the street. But yeah, so you know, and you know, the last thing I want to talk about a little bit is, you know, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um, Problem with LinkedIn right now is nobody really knows how to use it for anything other than it's like just a static resume, and then they're kind of like
Yeah.
mimicking a lot of Facebook qualities. So they have like a feed now, and you can post on there and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, you're catering to professionals by and large, and you know, it's hard because you get on some of these platforms and you're like, well, I just don't want it to be another Facebook. You know, I
Right.
want it to be unique to what it is that, you know, what it's intended for.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these companies get desperate, and so they're like, "Oh, what's popular on, Facebook and what's popular on Instagram is, doing these feeds and live videos and all this stuff. And then it's like, well, dude, I can get feeds and live videos from where, other platforms. So what is the value proposition that you're giving me in this particular platform? So what's really good about LinkedIn is that by and large, people are skilled professionals on there. So it's almost like an Indeed with a social aspect to it. And for those of you that don't know what Indeed is, it's a hiring platform. So if you're looking for people that have, putting out their resumes and stuff like that, you can pay to have alerts made when certain people in a certain career field will post their resumes. So my wife knows when people are going to try to leave on her because they've posted their stuff on Indeed and they don't know that there's a social aspect to it and an alert aspect to it. So for those of you out there that are going to try to quit anytime soon, now you know. So, but the thing with LinkedIn is that, you create these connections between people. And so then to get that connection, you can send them a message. And then, so it's a really good way to get a communication with somebody before you ask them for an interview, because you can kind of get a feel for their type of engagement. And it works really well when you're, doing, if you're trying to get people to come work for you, you can send them a message, with a couple of feelers. And, if they're not comfortable in the digital environment engaging with people, then you can decide whether you want them to come work for you or not. So those are always good things to do. So if you're, trying to find, sellers, I wouldn't say LinkedIn is a good place to find buyers, but I would say it's probably a good place to find sellers, because you're certain price ranges, people that engage get how it works. And, these are people that make money and they probably already bought their first house. And so then you can, interact with them and see if you can cultivate some activity that way. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where LinkedIn actually plays out, because I agree. It feels like another Facebook. They're trying to do like LinkedIn Live, which of course Facebook already has. And it's kind of like an online resume that you can interact with people. And I feel like it's too professional, to the point where it kind of loses that personal aspect to it, which is social media. It's in the globe of social media. So if you're removing that personal aspect and you're trying to be all, hoity-toity and really uptight with who you're presenting yourself as, they're really losing that depth, that engagement to who you are as a person. You're pretty much blocking that off and only presenting the best possible personality traits of yourself, which honestly isn't good, because we're human. We all have flaws. And by having flaws, that actually makes you relatable. One of the things that people really get wrong with social media is, and especially like really having a hard time with adopting video into their business plan, they want to be perfect. They want to present themselves as perfect. But what that's really going to do is basically, to your audience, they're going to be thinking, oh God, that guy's too perfect. I don't even know if I should talk to him. I can't even relate to him because he doesn't have any flaws and I do. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where LinkedIn plays out. Ultimately, I'm still hedging my investment on Facebook, just because it's been around so long. They're the ones innovating. They own Instagram, which is quickly becoming one of the biggest secondary social media sources, and it all just feeds together. So it'll be interesting to see where LinkedIn goes.
Yeah. And when you own a social platform and the first thing that's prompted is, would you like to sign in with your Facebook account? You're in trouble. Already have lost market share from the very beginning, and it's like, dude, if that's the first thing I think about when I'm going on your social platform, come on.
Right. Well, and even then, actually, so like when you're like, so one of the newer things on like websites for like a lead capture, you never see sign in with LinkedIn. It's sign in with Facebook or sign in with Google.
Yep.
Never going to be LinkedIn. So I want to give LinkedIn the benefit of the doubt. We're still gonna be posting our content there. And hopefully it pays out. But like I said, I hedge my investment or my bets on Facebook, 100%.
Absolutely. And if LinkedIn would have kept the integrity of the original intent of that platform, basically creating this living resume online, and basically just kept it as, okay, I'm going to post my resume on there, my picture, whatever, and let's say they were like, okay, we're just going to charge $1 to put this on there, and it can be on there forever. And you pay a $1 one time. It sits on there forever. And you're like, oh, well, if you want to post a video on here and give some sort of testimonial or some sort of like video resume or whatever that is, do a video, that's $1. And just kept it more of like a monetary add-on for a social aspect of a resume.
Right.
Instead of trying to be something else, because that's what happened. That's what killed, in my opinion, what killed LinkedIn was the fact that it tried to be all this hoity-toity professional stuff, and then all of a sudden then tried to compete with Facebook and Instagram and all these other places.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, it's like what you really wanted to do is create like a virtual boardroom where, you're the speaker and you're inviting other professionals to come sit in on what it is that you have to offer. In a way for people to get a true sense of who you are without having to like fly you in and do all this stuff to interview you for a particular position or whatever the case is. But instead it's like, hey, this is so-and-so and I'm a CEO with whatever company. Here's all my stats and stuff like that. Hey, let's talk. Oh, and then check out my feed, and then all of a sudden it's like it just turned into something else all of a sudden. Like it turned into, it's almost like when you invite somebody out on the first date and then you want to try to have sex with them the first night without getting, without doing anything to get there. It's like,
you didn't even pay for dinner. You just
really got weird, like really fast. I don't know if I'm ready for this commitment. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, and then you want to get married? Like, dude, it's one day. I don't even know your first name yet. Like that's where I feel like that's what's happened with LinkedIn. It was almost like it started off with like, here's my, professional resume, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's my feed. Huh? I'm confused. I don't understand what it's all about. Whereas like on Facebook, you're like, we're friends first. Oh, let me check out your feed. Okay, now what's your name? Like I want to stalk you first and make sure that this is going to be a legitimate date night or not, and then that way you can decide whether you want to be like, yeah, I could interact with this person,
Yeah.
And then with Instagram, it's just like completely like, I'm just going to, from afar, I'm just going to stalk you from afar. And I don't ever have to engage with you at all because you've already showed me your pictures, and I can go, this person's got 8 followers. Yeah, that's a complete waste of my time. You know what I mean? Like, even in like Facebook, like, even though like the amount of friends are in there somewhere, but it's still like these days it's harder to find because they kind of hide it in there.
Yeah.
So you can really get a sense of like, this person's not from my area, they're from somewhere else. I saw their first 5 photos and it's a little weird, whatever, on to the next one, where they don't have, if you want to get the info or the stats, it seems like Facebook's really gotten away from the info piece of it unless you have like a business page.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys.
Let's wrap this thing up. So guys, we're going to be doing this podcast a bit differently, from here on forward. And we think it's going to be a lot more valuable to you. It's going to be a lot more fun for us. And it's just going to create a more holistic show. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a different structure. We're going to be doing some inside industry news. We're going to be bringing on guests. We're going to be really understanding what they're doing to really earn their market share in their area. And that way you can take away different tidbits from what other people are doing from all across the country and hopefully all across the world eventually. So we'll be doing that. And we're going to be rebranding. We're getting a new logo. So we're really revamping this thing up. It's going to be really
Super
exciting.
excited about it.
Yeah. Our old logo, I actually made in a free vector online thing. So it's time to move past from that. We're on episode 22 now. This thing's getting real. We're bringing some real people on, some real guests, and we're going to give you some real value, real content. Going forward, if you guys want to be a guest on this, we're not going to take everyone. We really only want the best of the best. Go ahead and shoot me an email, or you can just shoot me something on Facebook. My email is chris.successagent@gmail.com. You can also reach out to JP, whichever one works, and we'll coordinate, and we'll just kind of go from there. How can people get a hold of you, JP, going forward?
The best thing to do is you can go at www.clixo.com/JP Fluellen. All of my social media platforms are on there. You can just call me directly, 307-772-1184, or you can just email me at james.fluellen@gmail.com.
Cool, guys. Everything is going to be in the show notes, just right down below. So go ahead and scroll down. Give us a like if you enjoyed this. Definitely give us a share if you find this stuff valuable. And we'd love to get some feedback from you guys, because after all, this isn't for us. This is for you. Until next time, guys, we'll talk soon. See you later, man.